Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the wildest and funniest corners of American folklore, a place where the goal was never to be accurate, but to be absolutely unforgettable. We're talking about the legend, the myth, the one and only Pecos Bill. So who is this guy? Pecos Bill is the ultimate cowboy, the hero who can do literally everything. He rides anything that moves, from mountain lions to lightning bolts. He outstubborns the desert itself, and he treats bad weather like a personal challenge. In the classic stories, if a massive tornado tears across the plains, Pecos Bill doesn't run for cover. No, he saddles it up and rides it like a wild bronco. He's the guy who dug the Rio Grande River just to water his ranch, and who used a rattlesnake as a whip. Now, here's the most important part to remember. Pecos Bill isn't a real historical person. He's a tall tale. And tall tales existed for a very good reason. The real life of a cowboy in the Old West wasn't the nonstop action you see in the movies. There weren't gunfights at high noon every day. A lot of it was grueling, repetitive work. It was long, dusty cattle drives, fixing fences, rough sleep on the hard ground, and eating the same simple food day after day. Imagine the challenges they faced: scorching heat, bitter cold, blinding dust storms, and weeks on end where the landscape felt completely empty and endless. There was no internet, no TV, no entertainment to distract them. All they really had was each other. So, what did these cowboys do when life was hard and monotonous? They did what people have always done. They talked, they joked, and they told stories. Round the campfire at night, storytelling became a kind of sport. It was a competition to see who could spin the most outrageous yarn. It probably started small. One cowboy might say, "Man, that wind today was brutal." Another would chime in, "Brutal? It nearly ripped the hat right off my head." Then a third would grin and say, "My hat. The wind tried to steal my horse right out from under me." And that's how a character like Pecos Bill gets created. One exaggeration gets stacked on top of another, and another, until you have a hero who isn't just tough, he's myth-level tough. He's a walking, talking embodiment of frontier grit. Cranked up to 1,000, these tall tales were basically the Old West form of stress relief. They were a brilliant way to transform the hardships of daily life into comedy. They turned genuine fear into shared laughter. It made the entire crew feel closer, building a sense of community through shared inside jokes. And it let people brag without sounding arrogant, because everyone knew it was just a game. Nobody was actually claiming they lassoed a cyclone. It was about who could come up with the most creative and hilarious lie. This is why so many of the stories revolve around Pecos Bill battling nature. Think about it. On the frontier, nature was the real boss. The weather could destroy your plans in an instant. A sudden drought could ruin an entire season. A thunderstorm could scatter your herd and undo weeks of hard work. The land didn't care how tough or confident you were. So, the fantasy of a cowboy who can physically dominate nature, who can wrestle a storm into submission, or use a hurricane to cool his coffee is a kind of emotional revenge. It's a power fantasy. In real life, sometimes the storm wins. But in a tall tale, the cowboy wins. Every single time. And he does it in the most ridiculous way possible. Then, as these stories started to spread beyond the campfires, they got even bigger and more elaborate. As the American West became a source of national fascination, newspapers and writers began collecting these frontier stories. They polished them up, added new details, and published them for audiences back east who were hungry for tales of adventure. The Wild West was being packaged as entertainment, and Pecos Bill was the perfect mascot. Fearless, unbelievably strong, hilarious, and completely larger than life. He was a superhero of the prairie. So, when you hear these incredible legends about him, the question isn't, did anyone really believe this was true? The right question to ask is, what was this story doing for the people who told it? And the answer is, it was doing a job. It was helping workers survive boredom, isolation, and stress. It was building community through the simple power of laughter. It turned the scary, uncontrollable forces of nature into punchlines for a good joke. It made a harsh and demanding life feel just a little bit lighter, a little more manageable. The real point of Pecos Bill isn't that he could do impossible things. The point is that the people telling his story needed a hero who could. Because when your own life is tough, unpredictable, and often feels overwhelming, a completely ridiculous story can be a profound source of comfort. It's a way of looking at the world and saying, yeah, this place is wild. It's dangerous. But we're still here. And we can still find a reason to laugh. That's the legacy of Pecos Bill. He's not a historical document. He's a campfire tradition that grew into a national legend, a testament to the resilience and humor of the people who shaped the American West. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into American folklore, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. We'll see you in the next video.